Sairam,
Sairam, everyone. Oh, go ahead, Nirupama. Go ahead.
sorry. Sairam, welcome to our 8th Awaken Wisdom Experience session. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. And for those who are just joining, we welcome you to begin this experience with us. We wanted to kind of share a model for studying the Gita, which combines the wisdom of the original 18th chapter text and a synopsis version, the Gita Vahini, written by Sri Satya Sai Baba. Commentators like Swami Tapasyananda have argued about both studying this from the perspective of the literal, studying the characters and the people that embody these scriptures. Our approach is different, though. We are hoping instead to consider the symbolic elements of these ancient texts and to really think about how they apply to our daily lives. Our goal is to find the inner meaning of the holy text and try to make it applicable to us. So we started off this awe journey in the first episode thinking about the despair of Arjuna, who is faced with sorrow during the biggest battle of the era and is faced with a seemingly impossible set of circumstances, requiring guidance from the divine, represented as Krishna, the charioteer, and a guide literally and symbolically. And we kind of recognize that while none of us are like, kings are like facing like an actual battle in the field, we all are facing our own complex inner battles and outer battles every day that are often really complex, don't necessarily have a clear solution, are often emotionally charged and rife with attachments to the people around us. And so, in order to dig deeper into this, we realized that it's not really about denying our problems or running away from our problems or trivializing it, but thinking of ways that we can actually deal with them. So, as we moved on in the next set of chapters, we realized we have a new problem solving model that we can try to break down these bigger problems and think of ways we can address them from a higher place of consciousness. We realize that like by flipping the switch, so to speak, we can take the problem and we can break it down into digestible elements. But in order to extend this idea further, for a light switch to be able to be turned on and for the switch to be able to be flipped, you need a fully charged battery. And so, in order for us to charge our batteries, we realized that we also need to think about how we can power ourselves through constant daily actions in order to make flipping the switch work. And so, in order to do that, we wanted to consider the characteristics of our inner divine, the Krishna inside of us, our atma, our best friend. And to charge the battery, we realized we need to adopt certain attitudes and behaviors and consistent practices. Hence, study our best friend and learn this atmic nature for us to recharge these batteries. Last time, we talked about what it means to be eternal, thinking about consistency in our practice and learning how to show up every day and every moment. Today, we're going to think about what does it mean to be indestructible and how we can be resilient and gritty in the face of life's adversity and develop that quality from an atmic perspective in order for us to be able to courageously face the situations and challenges we face on a daily basis. So now I'd like to hand it back to Brother Rajit.
Sairam, everybody. The homework for last month, June, was these set of questions. So, did we inspire ourselves to be indestructible? Did we help others, our friends, colleagues, or relatives who may have felt low or distressed to bounce back to feel indestructible this past month? So, if all of you or any of you have done this homework, please react with a quick thumbs up just to get the pulse of the group. All right, I see some thumbs ups. Cool, awesome. So moving on to The next slide is indestructible. According to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 20, the Atma is neither born, nor does it ever die, nor having once existed, does it ever cease to be. The Atma is without birth, eternal, immortal, and ageless. It is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. It is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. Atma is indestructible. So, after this explanation and after this sloka in Bhagavad Gita, I would like to have a quick, super quick poll, right, with the participants that we have today to guess who these people are. Can someone, like anybody who has guessed any of these pictures, quickly like unmute and say their answers? I'll just have like 10 seconds. Sorry, what?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. Close, close. Anybody else? Ooh, very nice. Oprah Winfrey is one. What's the next? Who's the next? Who's the other person? All right, all right. So poll has been closed. So we'll move on to the next slide. So over here, it's like story time right now. So I'll be going through two different stories. And let's move on to the first story, right? As somebody suggested, yes, the first person on the photo is Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah Winfrey is a prime example of a person, prime example of a situation where a person can achieve success irrespective of the situations or circumstances they are put in, right? Oprah was born into a very poor family in rural Mississippi to a teenage single mother. She went through an extreme childhood. She was sexually abused at age 9. She got pregnant at age 14, and she lost her son. Her son died in infancy. She went through all of this before, even touching age 15. And from that adverse situation, she rose to a level where, for a time, she was the world's only Black billionaire. Okay, she was inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame. And by 2007, she was voted as one of the most influential women on planet Earth. She also sponsors multiple charities, and all of her charities continue to make a positive difference in the society we live in. Moving on to the next story, the picture nobody guessed. You know why? Nobody could guess because that picture is me, Rajat Krishnan. Yeah. So I'm here to show, I'm here to prove that to you, that you don't have to be a celebrity or a multi-billionaire to show the world and yourself that Atma is indestructible. I was brought up in a very protected environment with all comforts and luxuries. And as most of us on this call, or as everyone on this call, when COVID hit me, it was like a changing or like turning point in my life, right? Let me quickly go through my story, right? It's very relatable for me. So I came to the US in 2017 from India, and I was supposed to graduate in 2019. And I was pursuing my master's thesis and I was doing research. And as many people know who have pursued research, you don't get results at your will, right? So I had to delay. I was facing the same situation. So I had to delay my graduation by 1 year. So I was sitting in the hall and seeing all my peers graduate, while I was in my mind, I was okay. I'll go through the same thing next year. But at that very point, I already had like some feelings of shame or some feelings of doubt creep in my mind. And then when next year came, 2020 came, and I was finally ready to graduate, 2 weeks after I, defended my thesis, the world shut down. Like all companies went through a hiring freeze. Because why? Because of COVID, right? And as an international student, that was so stressful for me because I have only 90 days to find a job. And here, all companies are going through hiring freeze. Nobody was even like entertaining my calls or resume requests or interview requests. So, but somehow Swami helped me find a part-time gig, and that sustained me. Starting that time, every day, every single day for 11 months, I woke up to 5 to 10 emails of rejection, right? Saying that, hey, we found some other candidate better than you. You're not good enough for our company. You're not good enough for our position. It was okay at the beginning, but slowly towards the end of these 11 months, it started to affect my confidence. It started to affect my mental health. And I reached a point where I was like, Swami, I've had enough, right? I can't take this anymore. This is done. Like I can't go through this stress anymore. If I have to go back to India, I have to go back to India. And coincidentally, at that same time, Chicago Metro, I'm from Chicago Metro. So Chicago Metro started their education service. So just as a distraction from my, from my job search, or just as a distraction from the negative circumstance I was in, I started doing Swami's work. And kid you not, I was struggling for 11 months. And the moment I started to do some Swami's work, within 2 weeks, I got a job. I have a constant flow of income. My life literally changed, right? And cascading events ensure that currently I'm serving as the Region 5 wire rep with my amazing, super energetic partner, Saidata. And we are blessed to be able to keep doing Swami's work. So that is my story, cut in short. And that's how I overcame like an adverse situation, adverse COVID, and, rose to a level where, Swami trusts me with his work. Now, taking a huge deep breath, we'll zoom out of both of these stories to find a similar pattern, or a pattern between both these stories, right? We have a person going through a normal life, right? In my case, I was just studying, going to grad school, and that person was put in a situation of crisis. For me, it was COVID. For me, it was the hiring freeze. For me, it was the people rejecting my job application, which led me to a lower state of self, which means that I was going through doubt, I was going through shame, I was going through fear for some period of time. And then there was one point, this bright yellow star point. I'll call that star point, and we will refer to this star point throughout the session. I went through a star point where I decided this was enough. I can't be in my lower state of self. I need to fight this adversity. And that star point is when I started like fighting against the circumstances that I was put into. That fight went on for a long time. And ultimately, after winning that fight with Swami self, in my case, I was able to reach an elevated state of self, which becomes my normal state. So that was the pattern of stories graph for you. With this, I would like to go into the breakout room. Sairam, everyone. I think everyone is back. A lot of stories flowing. I was going through each room. Fun stuff was I was hearing a lot of great stuff. But now let's move on to the next session, which is the breakout room summary. So I want every facilitator to quickly unmute and give us a quick recap, or a quick recap through your breakout room. And let's go. Yeah, let's go. Who wants to go first? I think Advaitaka was in room 1. So Akka, go ahead.
Rajat, you want us to share the screen with the responses?
Yes.
So do you want to stop sharing?
Yep. Stopped.
All right. Sairam, everyone. So the first emotions when you go through a difficult situation, so it seems like some of them felt anxious, irritated, disappointed, sad. Some of them even felt pity, And yes, I think some of them did feel that it was difficult to reach the start point, which is very much understandable. And yeah, I think it seems like everybody understands that there is a divinity within themselves, whether it is the physical form of Swami or the God inside. And so I think they get their strength from that inner divinity, surrender, self, Swami, faith in the divine. So these were the responses, and more or less, I think most of them agreed to the pattern. It was just, the distance, like how soon do you get to that star point? It was just about that. But otherwise, I think most of them related to the graph that you had. I think some were trying to get to the surrender point, and I said that Rajit is going to talk about that later. So, and then I think, so ultimately, if I had to narrow it down, I think it is Swami that gives them the strength to fight during difficult times. Saira.
Awesome. So for room 2, I think we have Chitra. Chitra, go ahead with your summary, please.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just share my screen here. And I think very similar to Advaita, we had the idea that, these are all the words that people used. It's sort of the negative ones you may say, some that are obviously showing that people were reacting or trying not to react immediately, pausing, helplessness. Prayer was there as a reaction, maybe demonstrating already where people are at their set point in terms of understanding the role of prayer, and also the negative emotions of stress, darkness, and then moving to surrender and ray of hope. So those were all there. In terms of the second question, is it difficult to reach the star point? We were all over the place. Some people said, yes, it's hard because maybe they were answering from the point of view of having already experienced a crisis and gone through the chart. Now it's a little bit harder to get to the star point. I think another interpretation of the question, maybe it's not, sometimes. And then in one case, one saying, no, it's not hard to get to the star point. And we had a good discussion about the different interpretations there. And the last one, where do you get your strength? Obviously faith, Swami. And then I liked this too about the YouTube videos and reading, the idea that we get messages from wherever we are reading or whatever videos we're watching. And we know that sometimes it's relevant to our situation. And that's a really nice way to get to come out of whatever feelings we are having that are difficult. So from there, just to the point of your question, did people agree with this chart? We similarly talked about the different heights, whether you go down, how far you go down, how far do you go back up in terms of fighting the adversity, and maybe the place where people start an initial setting could be very different. And it depends on the situation, how much down or up they can go based on that. So that's it. And then I think, the getting back to it, I think most everyone reflected on God, Swami.
Yay, very nice, very nice. Sounds like a fun room to be in. Next, we have for room 3, Nirupama. Nirupama, go ahead.
Again, I think this is probably echoing the same at this point. So I'm just going to highlight this really quickly. First, emotions were all the negatives, the distress, the panic, feel like a failure. Somebody also talked about they go into analysis mode. So we kind of talked about how do you deal with like a problem, like how I want to feel better from it, and how do we kind of just dig in and really think about things in a very scientific way, so to speak, and like practical. Of course, in our room, most people kind of swayed. We had one yes, it's not reflected in this graph. But the argument was more that people don't get down to that point of being that low to even necessitate the star point. And for the idea of no, it's not difficult, I think that comes from that analytical where it's kind of like, okay, I know this is the problem, this is what I need to do, this is how I overcome. And the sometimes group was kind of like, we know what we need to do, but actually doing it is really hard, which I think is very universal to all of us. And then we talked about where do we get the strength to fight adversity? Again, kind of going to those religious coping mechanisms, meditation, the faith, the prayer, thinking of Swami. And then I think one thing that was very interesting was past events and how we solve things in the past can inform the way we deal with things now. Sometimes it can be that we dealt with things poorly in the past, and so we want to rectify our behaviors and attitudes to do it better this time. And sometimes it's more we solved something even worse, even better, so to speak, before. So whatever we're facing now can't be so bad. And with that, I'll pass it down.
All right, Nirupama, thank you so much. The room 4 is my YA rep partner, Sai Datta. Please go ahead.
Sairam, I'll share my screen. So I put it in a Word doc, like few people were not able to join it, but then we jotted it down separately. So like common with many others, the first question, we had these answers. Along with the one that was different was sometimes disbelief and shock also. When your first thought is it takes time to accept that this has happened also. Along with the other words that people mentioned, surrender, faith, and learning. These were the first question. The next one was, like everybody else also shared, sometimes was a common thing that many shared. The good news is nobody said yes. Like they know how to reach there. They know sometimes it takes more time than expected, but they know how to reach there. So that's a good thing. The last question again was, oh, sorry. Over here, this is where do you get your strength to fight the adversity? These were the answers we got. And there was one more saying, trying to remain calm in that situation along with this. And about the graph, yes, Rajat, everybody related to it. They agree to it. The only thing that others also mentioned was the time, how much it takes to reach to the start point. And also that when we talk about we don't always come out with a higher self-esteem from every crisis. It's like it takes a few crises to actually come out of it and to be at a higher self. So sometimes it becomes a cycle and not always linear. I think that's the only thought that I had. And everybody else had a beautiful thing, like beautiful stories to share, and this being a common theme. Thank you. Sairam.
Very nice. That's so real, right?
Yeah.
Like just in case, just to like zoom out, it just makes a line, but really it's not
It's
a straight
actually,
line. It's like
yes,
day in, day
it's
out, fight in,
going.
fight out. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. And the last room is a triple facilitator room with Anushaka, Sai Prasanna Aunty, and Amit. So Anushaka, or like anyone can please feel free to go ahead.
Sairam, I will start, but then
Okay.
Amit and Sai Prasananti will add more to it.
Mhm.
This was our first question response. I think it's pretty common. There was dejection, feeling low, stress, fright, pity, worry. Somebody did say the first emotion was also surrender, acceptance, and this is an experience that we need to go through. All participants said that it is very relatable, the stories that we heard in the main room to their own life. They did say that it is very relatable and they've all gone through that situation either personally or they have witnessed somebody else go through, either it is family members' health or it could be, just some life's ups and downs, a personal, a marital crisis, many challenges in life, rediscovering themselves. So yes, everybody agreed that it is, something that they have felt. Is it difficult to reach star point? Nobody said yes. Mostly, no. And some people did say sometimes it is, harder to reach that star point or even come out of it or even to realize that we are in that star point, right? And then finally, where do you get strength? Faith, probably multiple answers. Multiple people said faith, prayer, good company, listening to inspirational satsangs, self-introspection, of course, the root of everything, the divine himself. Multiple people said their Sai Center has been their source of energy, their source of, to even come out of any
crisis situation, they said, that's where I found myself, and that's where I was brought back. So they were very grateful for that Sai Center experience. We also talked about the resilience and grit and the courage that is needed to come out of that situation. We briefly discussed about how we perceive our own situation and how we look at somebody else going through, and how our mind kind of tricks it to be a lot worse than it is when we look at other people's. And one person actually said, imagination is a lot more scarier than the actual situation. So which I thought was very interesting, and I could relate to it. Brother Amit or Sai Prasad, if you want to add anything, please feel free to.
Well, thank you, Sairam. Just 10 seconds just to add, I believe the phrase, having faith in Swami was a theme for almost all of the stories. But what I found fascinating was that word meant many things to each individual. So faith in Swami could be resonating with bhajans. Faith in Swami could be learning from seva projects. For some, it meant reading Sai's literature. For some, it was just the community bonding with Sai devotees at the Sai Center. It meant so many things for each individual. Just that phrase, faith in Swami, which I found was amazing. Thank you, and Sairam.
Awesome. Thank you, Sairam.
Awesome, awesome. With that, I'll just take control of the screen again. And I'd also like to invite Dr. Suresh Govind uncle to the call. So uncle, can you unmute yourself and come back on screen? Okay, awesome. Beautiful discussion. Thank you so much, all facilitators. I believe it was a very insightful session in the breakout room. So moving to that, I have this question for Suresh Govind uncle, right? Uncle, we all went through all the summary, and that I've seen many of us have been able to reach the star point, right? So it's either sometimes, or it's either they didn't have a lot of difficulty. There is like a 1 or 2 yeses for the question that about difficulty to reach the star point. So, and I've also seen like a common theme where people I think every breakout room at least had one answer where they said that, Swami has helped them come out of a difficult situation, or Swami gives them the strength to reach the star point, or, fight the adversity, or reach their elevated state of self. Can you please all connect this to Atma and its indestructible nature?
Yeah. So Sai Ram, thank you, Rajit. It was a very nice session. By the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagavan Baba, we are experiencing this beautiful session so seamlessly carried out and conducted by yourself. So if you look at the various workshop presentations, it goes back to your tree, the tree picture that you had. And maybe if you can put that picture back, then yeah. Okay. So this is a beautiful picture. This is a picture that in life, we always cannot predict what will happen to us. It can be in the office, in the family, in every circumstance and situation. We brought all the circumstances and situation back into our lives from our previous births. And we don't know when it will strike. So the wind will blow and the tree will bend. And it will be sometimes very strong wind, and sometimes it can be light breeze. But the secret of life is in the roots. How deep is our roots? Now, if you look at the roots, if the roots are very, very deep, and the depth of the roots is actually the star point. The star point is the depth of the roots. So actually, by right, we should be experiencing and living in the star point. And from the star point, whenever a deflection takes place, we jump out for a little while, but we return back to the star point. Most of the time, what we do is that we are always orbiting along with the waves, or being lashed and thrashed by the waves, and then we search for the star point, and then we reach the star point, and then we move out. By right, in spiritual life, we should be experiencing the star point, which is why the definition of Baba's definition of a devotee is one who treats both opposites the same. See, treating both opposites the same is the experience of the star point. So now the key point is, how do you do this? So let's take your example, for example. So you had this job in a few months more, and you need this thing, and it's very critical, you're not getting through. Okay, what was the breakthrough action which you did? You went and joined that service program for 2 weeks, isn't it? You said, that's what you said. You went join the service program. So what did you do? You got connected back to the roots. See, you got back to your start point state. Once you get back to your start point state, the atma which you get connected to, because when you go and do selfless service, why are you doing selfless service? Oh, I got nothing to gain. Okay. Do you benefit? No. Do you gain anything? No. Then why did you do it? Selflessly. When you do selfless action, it gets back to your atmic state. In that atmic state is the indestructible zone in which it knows how to reorganize ourselves. It knows how to realign ourselves. It knows how to rearrange ourselves. That is the equilibrating zone where the innate wisdom is already present there. But we rarely want to get connected to that, because the physical, mental, and intellectual 3 zones have identified who we are, described what we are, and therefore we continue to live in this world according to the physical, mental, intellectual dictates. And therefore, this has described us, this has defined us. And because we are so habituated to work like that, we just continue to dabble. But because Bhagavan came into our lives and they provide us another avenue, like the Sai Center, Sai activity, so on. So it makes us connect back. It allows us to facilitate a connection point. By connecting the point, we are deepening the roots, reaching our star point. And when we reach the star point, the wisdom reorganizes ourselves. So the wisdom realigns ourselves, and therefore the mechanism comes back again. This temporary amnesia that we have forgotten, this is what we suffer from. We suffer from what we call spiritual Alzheimer's. Spiritual Alzheimer's means we basically forgot ourselves, forgot our nature. Actually, the master was waiting there for so many, why are these people forgotten, my God? Then he himself incarnated and came back to remind us, to create the alarm clock. Hey, I'm here. I'm here means you are there. Who are you? Atma is there. Connect back to Atma. It knows what to do. So the surrender, when we say surrender, means let go. Just allow him to organize it. Just allow the Atma to organize it. Surrender means let go. So once you let go, what will happen? You will have a sense of peace. You'll have a sense of equipoise. You'll have a sense of what we call relief, that you know that the pilot is going to take over. You must have that, and then let go of the anxiety and the worry. But we often think being anxious is an expression of responsibility. We think that having a worry is a sign of maturity. See, this is all the connotations that the world has given it. When you have a long face and forlorn, of frown and worried and anxiety, this is an expression of accountability. This is an expression of responsibility. We think like this. But we don't know that the real responsibility is do your very, very best. And there comes a point when we just allow it to happen. And you know that eventually everything happens. Bill Gates has got an answer. Bill Gates, when he was interviewed, he said, how do you solve all your problems? He said, I have only asked 2 questions. I find out who else had the same problem, and then I discover how he solved his problem. See, it's a simple thing, and apparently he uses that formula. So in the same way, obviously we have had experiences before. Obviously, somehow God has come to our rescue at many points. Then why is it that it is not ingrained in us that the Lord himself will come? Therefore, when we have anxiety, worry, and so on, we must come to the point that, hey, the teacher will come to us, but we must allow him to come to us. This is how you connect the dots to all the workshop groups that you have had to achieve the star point. So to regularly experience the star point is the sadhana. That means regular meditation, regular japam, continuous meditation, continuously focusing. See, we should not just because we don't have a job, then go for the services. See? So the point, that's why I always say, make the mission work a lifestyle. When we continuously make, Swami, how can you progress? Continuously be anxious, continuously be concerned about his mission and expand the mission, you are in the star point. Once you're experiencing the star point all the time, occasionally you jump out from the star point to experience the problem, but return back. So this is how to keep our equilibrium and sanity constant. This is how you connect all the lines. This particular image of the tree is very powerful and strong. But look, the tree can never be blown away because the roots are extremely deep.
Thank you so much, Uncle. I think I think this helps me like realize or ground myself again, because what I see is that the star point that we were talking about, it's just like a material or like mundane point in my life where I decided to use my strength, everything that's available to me in this form. But then when I actually like surrendered, right? When you brought up surrendered, that's when all the difference happens, right? So exactly when I'm connecting back to the graph that we have, the point that I surrendered or let my atma or let Swami take over, that's when it made all the difference. Isn't it, Uncle?
Yes, it made all the difference.
Yeah.
That is the state. Actually, it's the most beautiful state to be. Why
Mm.
should we move away from that state to continuously get? Actually, you should be looking at, and when you get up in the morning, you should feel happy. Then people will ask you, why are you happy? And you look around, and you cannot find a reason why you're happy. When you cannot find a reason for happiness and you're happy, this is called bliss.
Yeah.
So definition of bliss is causeless happiness is bliss. No reason to be happy, yet I'm happy is the reason what bliss is all about. Hey, why is that your face is so happy? Why is it that you have joy? I don't know. I just have it. What's the reason? I don't have a reason. I just am happy. That's it. Most people are happy because you're with your spouse, or with your house, with your car. Okay, you've got many reasons to be happy. But when you come to a state where you're happy, because that is what is meant by this star point that you talk about. That star point is a state in which we continuously experience happiness all the time, every moment. Find reasons to be, and then finally you find happiness without a reason.
Makes
And
sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
when you say like this, the young people will say, "Oh, it's philosophical. It's too high. It cannot be achieved. It's not possible. It's not real." See, this is and it's very annoying to get to hear to these points, because when you go out in the gym and you see a six-pack guy comes out, and then you say, "How could you get the six-pack?" You have to go to, "Oh, it's not real. It's not practical. It's not possible." Do you say that like that? You don't say that. Why when you see a six-pack muscle guy who has got muscle, like this guy, all these heroes, what's his name? I forgot. Hrithik Roshan's and all that. Okay, you look at how is he able to achieve? He must have gone to the gym. He must have practiced. He must have done his push-ups. Then you develop the muscle. So it's not that it's not practical. It's the process is what is now driven. In the same way, the teacher is saying now that it is a process that you must be acquainted, continuously practice. You find a state where we can achieve a certain element state, then that's it. That's how to bring everything practical. You see, in this place, there's vapor. I'm telling you, there's water all in the sky. No, there's not water. Yes, there is. If I condense the vapor, I will get water. And if I condense the vapor, water, I'll get ice. That means ice is actually floating around in the sky. Ice is floating around, but you can't see it because it's now in the form of vapor. So I need to, practical aspect is condensation. Condensation is concentration. Continue to concentrated, consistent work is sadhana. That is what Swami is telling. Sadhana, sadhana, sadhana.
Yeah, and I think sadhana is like the easiest way for us to like, selflessly do something, or even like connect back to our atma. Which brings me to the next question, right? So in my personal experience that I shared earlier, I realized that, just through going through that personal experience, I realized that, I have this indestructible source within me. But now when I see somebody else going through a difficult situation, all I can like practically do is like comfort them, or just like give them words of, like, hey, it's going to be all right, or just like give them like some sort of happiness or comfort for the short term. How do I help them realize that they also have an indestructible source within them? Okay. And they can indestructible source as a friend who they can like call at will. So uncle, I'd request you to please conclude this session with your answer.
Yeah. Point is, we must never see somebody else as somebody else. When someone else is there experiencing it, you also can feel it. That's what empathy is all about. Why should I be thousands of miles away in Malaysia at early morning of this day, talking to all of you, thousands of So the fact is, all of us are connected. All of us have come from the same source. So the agony and the feeling of what you call pain in others must also be felt by us also. That's why Baba said, when you're giving service, you must see God in the other person, you must see God in yourself, and you must feel that God is helping the God. So that feeling must be there. That's the difference between good work and God's work. So when someone else is actually experiencing that, don't forget he's disconnected from his source. So if you like, okay, a good example will be that the water pipe is broken. So what happens? You call the plumber. What does the plumber do? Plumber connects back to the source, and then you say, thank you so much, you pay him. So the plumber connects. Like that, if someone is in pain, someone is disconnected from his source. So now my indestructible nature is I want you to experience my state of happiness. I want you to experience that bliss. And since you can't seem to experience it, let me help you to do that, so that by connecting you back, by facilitating a process, by talking to me, and even just giving your shoulder, even if you're not a great counselor or anything like that, just give a shoulder for him to cry or for him to say whatever that you want to say. And that in itself is a very big relief. As a result of that relief, he himself will get a connection. By talking itself, you'll find, yeah, I think I should not worry like that. I think I should be connecting in this way. And then he finds relief. That in itself is a very big seva that you can do. Helping people to connect back to his source is one of the biggest seva that you can do at that present moment, at that moment. So if we are available for that particular process and do that work, it's a service. And when you leave that place, you just feel a sense of satisfaction and happiness, because that is what life is all about, sharing happiness and abundance with everybody else. This feeling, this continuous, that is why Swami said, never leave my organization. What does it mean in the Sai Center? What's our role? In the Sai Center, when we come there and we just pray, and Samastalo, we pray, may everybody be happy. Then we continue. Sometimes some people, we don't even know they exist. Some people have been coming to the center, we don't hardly ask people's names. So when we do this, when we're isolated and disconnected, it won't happen. But when we are collectively coming together as a community, everybody becomes responsible for the other person's growth. So all of you are responsible for my growth. So I subject myself. The next time when I come, hey, brother, you didn't do this. So then you are reminding me of what my nature is or my imperfections are, so that I improve. Because then I empower myself to you in order for you to remind me who I am, so that my river can reach the ocean. In the same way, if each of us can be helping each other to move, wow, that's a powerful way. That's what Atmic connection is all about. So that's what, when we do certain things, we are selfless, we are connected as a community, and we grow like that. But if we just do it in isolated manner, you can do it in your bedroom. Why come to the center? Why come to an organization? The whole reason why we come in an organization is because each cell must help the other cell. Even our body is like that also. Our cells help each other to provide a healthy environment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Uncle, for that. I think that was very relatable. And, I personally connected, and I think I'll be more aware or more mindful of this pattern or of the teachings that you have shared today. Which brings us to the next slide. So the team has decided that this is going to be the homework for July, right? In just being in line with whatever Uncle shared just now. So we're going to practice getting in touch with our indestructible source or indestructible atma within ourselves. So we have two activities. You can choose either or. So the first one is an extension of June homework or June activity, where we enjoy the process. So in June, we just told you to help. Now we need to enjoy the process of helping others, connect with people, and help them realize their indestructible self. Okay. That is the first aspect. And the second one is probably you don't have a lot of people around always to help or connect or help them realize their indestructible self. In that case, what you can stick to is just step out of your comfort zone, right? The more you step out of your comfort zone, test your comfort zone, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, that's when you'll also develop that grit or develop that resilience. And that's a chance for you to get in touch with your atma, indestructible self. So just to break that down into smaller chunks, we can pick one activity which is outside your comfort zone. For me, I'm so restless. It's so difficult for me to, just be mindful, be aware. So for example, I'll just decide that, my activity is going to be mindful. I'll try to practice mindfulness in this whole world of distraction. Okay. Second, allot some time in your day, at least 5 or 10 minutes, just something quantifiable to pursue this activity. So in my example, what I'll do is while I'm brushing my teeth, I'll just focus on brushing my teeth rather than, packing my lunch for work, or what time I'm going to reach work. Am I late for reaching work? I'll keep all these thoughts aside and just focus that 5 or 10 minutes that it takes, no, actually 5 minutes that it takes for me to brush my teeth, just on that. And the third aspect is increase this allotted time incrementally every week, right? If I'm planning to practice mindfulness, so I'll start off with brushing my teeth. Then, probably when I'm showering, I'll not think about, random bhajan that's playing in my head or sing the random bhajan. I'll just focus all my energy, all my awareness on just showering, feeling the water on my body, and, applying the soap on my body. So it's just, I'll keep practicing mindfulness. So please feel free to, use this activity as an opportunity for yourself to step out of your comfort zone, try to tap into your atma to be more indestructible. After that, we move on, going forward, right? We are going to have the next episode, which is episode 9, is scheduled to be on Sunday, August 4th. And I would like to call upon Geeta Akka to share a few words on this. So, Geeta Akka.
Thanks, Rajit. Thanks, Uncle. Sairam, everybody. Can't believe it's been about 8 months of us walking through this journey now with the all group. It's been amazing to see the richness of the experiences that people have shared, and even month to month, the changes that we have seen palpably in our own lives as a result of being participating in these series. Just like with everything else, there's always room for improvement, room for innovation. And with that in mind, I think, and in conversations within our facilitator group, we are going to challenge the large group of us to sort of think about ways where we can come together in between these sessions to sort of discuss and deepen our understanding of these concepts in smaller group settings. And so over the course of the next month, you will see some ideas that are being shared around on the WhatsApp group. The idea is to sort of keep thinking about these concepts, to challenge ourselves, to keep at it, so to speak, and use the small groups as your little coaching group, so to speak, which will be facilitated by a few of us. And then the goal is to sort of get to know your small cohort of individuals that you would be paired with. Of course, it's a voluntary thing if you want to deepen the experience that way. We find that that's more enriching rather than just coming once a month during these sessions. There's beauty in sharing, there's beauty in learning from one another. And with that, we will be sharing more about that on the WhatsApp group. So please do keep your ears and eyes peeled for those information to come through. And hopefully this will be a fun experience. It may be a little bit new for a lot of us, but we hope that it will be an enriching experience nonetheless. I'll turn it back to Rajit to close us off. And thank you so much for being part of our journey for the past 8 months. It's been a blessing. And thank you, Suresh Uncle, for always being there for us. Sairam.
Thank you so much, Geeta. We do have 3 minutes left, so we can take one question, right? So whoever raises their hand first, okay, gets a chance to ask questions. So let's go. Let's see who raises their hand first. We can ask one question to, yes, Bharat. Bharat, please unmute yourself, show us yourself, and please ask Suresh Govind Uncle one question. We do have 3 minutes.
As I put in the chat, if Dr. can just share his insights and experience during the Kenya conference.
Oh, the International Kenya Conference was very well attended and was extremely very, very nice and good. It was really like a dip in the ocean. Talk about Star Point experiences, there were a lot of there. But most importantly, to think that, see, it's a coordination of everyone. The diverse teams worked independently, but brought every experience together to make that whole journey beautiful and wonderful. It was very nice. It was graced by their prime minister, so to speak, who had launched it, and a governor came, and the governor said, well, how can I be a member of the organization? In fact, it was like that. They were so she was so positive, and everybody was so acknowledging the contributions made by the Kenyan Sai Council to the Sai organization. And the devotees also, everybody enjoyed themselves so much. It was really nice. It was these experiences that sometimes when you go there, when you listen to people, you will suddenly one insight will come, one thought will come, one link will come, one bridge will come, one root will go deeper inside. You know, a lot of those things happens like that. But I just want you all to know one point. In the Gita, which your river of the Gita is flowing, we went chapter 1, we stopped at chapter 2. Most of the time, the Gita, when you say Atma is eternal, Atma is immeasurable, Atma is unmanifested and all that. So when we keep on describing that, and we'll just finish that and we'll go off. We can finish that entire verse in 30 seconds. But what we did was we stopped at this beautiful understanding of the Atma and going deeper inside. The real reason why we are doing that is because for the rest of the journey of the Gita, we should see it from the perspective of the star point. When we see things from the perspective of star point, you will learn faster. You will get to know how to imbibe those things better, rather than wait for the entire 18 chapters for understanding it. So in this way, it's a very fast way of learning, fast speed way of doing, and we already gone through 4 years of Prema Vahini and all. So this is a very nice way of landing on the subject quicker, so that our growth rate will be faster and good. So now you say, for example, we are now forming a small group. I think then the small group will have more in-depth discussions, more deeper. So your conversation, there will be newer conversations. Yeah, there'll be better conversation, more and more improved conversations that we have, especially in terms of connecting to our roots. You find that your experiences in the worldly life will be much, much better. That is what this whole opportunity of awakening the wisdom experience is all about. Saira, thank you.
Thank you.
Sairam, thank you so much for attending episode 8 of AWE series, and we can't wait to have all of you back next month, Sunday, August 4th. And I hope you get like more insights into, the Gita Vahini. And also, I've heard that Gita is the instruction manual or user manual to live life. So probably you can, I hope this whole experience ties down to that and helps you live your life better and have a more enriching life. With that, we would like to close AWE episode 8. Thank you so much, everyone. Sairam, and have a great evening. Have a blessed week ahead.
Sairam.
Sairam.